Part 39. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 381. As soon as the girl finished speaking, the big man like a mountain of flesh stopped all his movements as if the robot had suddenly cut off the power supply. The bartenders and thugs in the hotel were all filled with indignation. These two men went to their territory and attacked their boss. This matter cannot be settled. This group of people held instruments and glared at the girl and Roshan. As long as the boss gives the order, they are ready to rush forward and chop the girl and the meat mountain into meat paste. The boss adjusted his floral shirt and said, "It was my mistake not to go out to greet you according to the rules. I will express my apology." The bar is quiet. The slightly hoarse voice of the boss echoed. The boss continued, "However, my bar has rules, no one is allowed to do anything in my bar. If you do, you will have to pay the price." The girl holding the umbrella turned her head and spoke a string of Japanese words in a brisk voice. John Killen heard it clearly. What she said was, "Hirao-kun, cut off your right hand and apologize to the boss." Roshan's expression remained unchanged. He pulled out a sharp dagger from somewhere and chopped off his right wrist without hesitation. The boss was shocked. It was too late to stop him verbally. In the blink of an eye, he grabbed the iron rod from a bartender beside him and blocked it on the big man's right wrist. Clang! The dagger struck the iron rod with such force that it almost cut into a third of the iron rod before stopping. The boss's hand grasped the iron rod, and the tiger's mouth shook violently. This big man used 10% of his strength. "Do you really not care about your body at all?" The girl raised her lips and smiled softly. "I heard that the boss is a ruthless person. What? Don't you want me to punish my subordinates?" This time, she spoke in English. Pretty silky American accent. "That's not true," the boss said. "I'm just afraid that this bloody scene will disturb my guests." The girl had a sweet smile, as if she was discussing with friends what kind of hairpins would look good, and her tone was pleasant. "Then what price does the boss want us to pay?" "Choose one. Either let me stab you, or choose to pay for all the guests here today," the boss said. The girl tilted her head playfully and asked Roshan, "Hey, Hirao-kun, what do you think I should choose?" Roshan said in a rough voice, "The servant dare not let the master spend money. So, I chose to let him stab me." "Then what if he stabs you to death?" The girl waved her hand. "Without one hand, you are still useful to me. But a dead person is of no use to me at all." Roshan knelt down and kissed the ground in front of the girl's leather shoes devoutly. "Thank you, master." The girl smiled coquettishly. "Okay, let's pay." Roshan stood up and lifted his shirt. There was not a trace of fat on his body, and his complex muscle groups showed terrifying strength. And around his waist and abdomen, there was a black belt with a sandwich. There is a thick gold bar stuffed in each mezzanine. A rough calculation shows that there are at least 30 gold bars in this circle. Roshan took out a gold bar and placed it on the table next to him. He took out another one and put it next to him. "Pull out another one and stack it up." The girl looked at the gold bars and asked softly, "Boss, how many gold bars do you need? If these are not enough, I will have someone send them over." The boss took a heavy gold bar and said, "This one is enough." But Roshan continued to look at the gold bar mountain as if he didn't hear it. The gold bar mountain is shining brightly, making the whole bar look luxurious. The girl raised her hand. "Hirao-kun, the boss is a nice guy, just one thing he said is enough." Roshan stopped. The girl added, "In addition, your hand was left by the boss for you." Roshan bowed 90 degrees to the boss. "Thank you." The girl was a little tired after talking for so long. She wandered around the bar, trying to find a seat to sit down. While looking at it, he said, "The famous No Way Out bar doesn't even have any decent tables and chairs." Her words stopped abruptly. She saw John Killen sitting in the corner with only half of his face exposed. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 382. The girl was stunned. The light in the corner of the bar is sparse and dim. John Killen was wearing a very simple black round neck t-shirt, revealing his clean and crisp Adam's apple. He looked ascetic and cold. His facial features are perfect, without any blind spots, his brows are high, his nose is like a lonely snow ridge, his beautiful peach blossom eyes are slightly raised at the corners, and they are covered by black feather-like eyelashes from time to time. This face is breathtakingly beautiful. He has a good figure, a slightly wide t-shirt, and vaguely bulging muscle lines, which makes him look strangely sexy and tough. The whole person exudes an aura that is incompatible with the bar. The girl felt her heart beat twice. The bar owner and Nolan were secretly complaining. This girl has a good background, and people who are aware of current affairs will try to flatter her. But John Killen, at first glance, was not the kind of person who would wrong him. The girl licked her lips and showed an expression like a cat that had stolen fish. She closed her umbrella. Killen walked toward Zhang. The girl asked in English, "Hi, handsome guy, what's your price?" After hearing what the girl said clearly, everyone in the bar took a deep breath. John Killen slowly turned his face and looked at the girl. There was a layer of biting frost between his brows, and his thin lips were pursed tightly, almost turning white. His eyes were dark and heavy, falling on the girl's face. The girl looked at John Killen's face with an innocent expression. Her vision was extremely paranoid and sick. Off. Get off." John Killen's voice was low and he spoke every word clearly. He rarely gets angry. But every word and every move this girl made from the moment she entered the door stepped on his Achilles heel. The girl was not angry, but more excited. Hirao-kun kills everyone and intimidates the entire audience. This handsome guy was not afraid and dared to talk to her in this tone. So brave. The girl smiled even brighter. Are you as rude to others? It doesn't match your temperament. I don't have to be polite to trash, John Killen said. Trash, the girl clapped her hands and laughed. No one has dared to be so rude to me in many years. She finished laughing and showed a troubled expression. Aren't you a commodity? Commodity? Buyer, seller. Could it be that the commodity in this transaction is people? The girl continued to ask, do you belong to the buyer or the seller? Where is your pass? There it is again. John Killen remained silent. The girl's eyes widened. Could it be that you are ownerless? Masterless, the big guy just called the girl master. What era has it been and are we still talking about slavery? John Killen intuitively couldn't answer this question casually. Nolan, who had been silent, spoke. He's with me. We're the buyers. John Killen pursed her lips and glanced at him. Nolan didn't even look at John Killen. The girl glanced at Nolan in confusion. Nolan took out a medal from his pocket. In the middle of the medal was a lion with a lush mane. The lion opened its mouth wide and showed its fangs. The lion is surrounded by a relief pattern of blue and red ribbons. The boss breathed a sigh of relief. The girl looked regretful. A waste of my feelings. She actually let John Killen go, turned around, and walked toward the back of the bar. The bar is built high above the sea. The most prime location is the window on the inside, where you can see the entire sea without any obstruction. There were several men with strange hairstyles sitting at that table who looked fierce. The girl walked to the table and said impatiently, "Get out of the way." The men were so stunned that they immediately stood up and gave up their positions. The boss came forward with the bartender and quickly cleared the table. John Killen watched Nolan put away the medal. Why should he help himself? Also, what's going on with this deal? Nolan waved, and the boss came over with an earnest smile. "We're going to rent a speedboat and get some air," Nolan said. The boss said to John Killen and Nolan, "Okay, please come with me." John Killen bent down and picked up the backpack on the ground, followed Nolan and the boss to the suspended bridge outside the bar. The boss untied the rope of the speedboat and reminded, "The auction starts in an hour. Don't miss the ferry." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 383. The boss looked at Nolan and John Killen with an inquiring look. He wanted to say something, but after hesitating for a while, he said nothing and turned back to the bar. The Lolita girl sat by the window. Her eyes followed John Killen's figure. Her expression was full of playfulness. John Killen and Nolan silently untied the ropes of the yacht and got on the yacht. The two did not communicate at all. Because it was not safe here. After they got on the speedboat, Nolan started the speedboat, turned the steering wheel, and drove towards the distant sea. Nolan drove the horsepower to the highest, and the speedboat split the sea like a sword. Nolan didn't turn off the speedboat's engine until the speedboat was more than 300 meters away from the No Way Out bar. 200 meters. It is the maximum radius covered by the wireless monitor. At this distance, the conversation between the two will not be monitored by the bar's monitor. But this is not enough. Nolan took out a black lighter from his pocket. He opened the lid of the lighter with a click. John Killen recognized that it was a signal jammer. This can prevent drones in the sky and small unmanned submarines on the seabed from monitoring. Nolan no longer used the slick American soldier's appearance, but returned to his old appearance. Until the girl came to ask John Killen about the price, John Killen's reaction made Nolan know that John Killen really knew nothing about the auction. John Killen was neither the buyer nor the seller. Nolan asked seriously, "Are you Interpol? Or CIA? FBI? Why did you come to Country Y?" After Nolan helped him, although John Killen could not trust him, he could choose to say some things. But not including his true identity and nationality. John Killen looked straight into Nolan's eyes. "I can't say. Even if I said it, would you believe it?" Nolan looked back at John Killen. John Killen looked calm. After a long time, Nolan shrugged. Indeed, he couldn't say his identity. "Then you can tell me why you came to Country Y, right?" Nolan said. John Killen said, "I'm here to look for someone. She's been missing for a while, but someone said they saw her in Country Y. I advise you to be prepared." "I'm afraid you won't be able to find the person you're looking for," Nolan said. John Killen asked, "Why?" "Because Country Y's annual auction is about to start. During this period, everyone walking on the streets of Country Y, except for the buyers or sellers identified by the auction, may become a commodity. The missing friend you mentioned must have become a commodity. Commodities have no chance of leaving Country Y alive." John Killen looked at Nolan with disbelief. "Is this modern society? If you like someone, just rob him directly." John Killen remembered the three groups of people who followed him after he set foot on the territory of Country Y. Could it be that they were all sellers? Nolan said, "Unbelievable, right? I was also shocked when I first heard about this. I had heard about it before, but I didn't take it seriously. The sellers of the auction are financially strong. They hired many mercenaries and local thugs to help them capture tourists. Those who are beautiful and alone are very dangerous. The sellers will sell the captured tourists at the auction. So, if you are targeted, you must find a way to prove that you are the buyer or seller of the auction. The auction has an iron rule: members who protect both buyers and sellers must never attack both buyers and sellers. Those who violate this rule will be killed by the auction with a global bounty. As long as you have evidence that you are the buyer or seller of the auction, then you are safe. John Killen thought of the medal Nolan had just received. So, the Japanese woman just gave up on me after seeing the proof of being a buyer, John Killen asked. Nolan nodded. Then what are you going to buy at the auction? John Killen asked. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 384. It's a videotape, Nolan said. The person who entrusted Nolan was a boss of a German car manufacturer. Nolan initially thought it would be a simple job. Although Country Y is in chaos, for the members of the H Rangers, this chaos is nothing to worry about. However, after Nolan arrived in Country Y, the boss sent Nolan relevant precautions. The boss asked Nolan to go to the designated place and get the medal. The boss told him that this medal was the ticket for the auction. Also a talisman. The boss told Nolan not to interfere if he saw any robbery on the road. Otherwise, it will be considered as breaking the rules. The annual auction in Country Y is a good time for unscrupulous mercenaries to make money. They came to Country Y with weapons and were hired by sellers to make some money. Most mercenaries only know that their mission is to bring good-looking and distinctive people. They can be people kidnapped from foreign countries, or they can be lone tourists on the streets of Country Y. Some of these people pretend to be travel agencies, some pretend to be car rental companies, and some pretend to be B/U0026B owners. Countless poor travelers were kidnapped inexplicably. I thought you were also a mercenary, after all you carry so many weapons. Nolan glanced at John Killen's backpack. Of course, there are also unlucky mercenaries. Because they accidentally learned of the existence of the auction, or because they looked very distinctive, they directly became the commodities of the auction. Zhang Qi Lanruo is also a mercenary here to try his luck. With his kind of qualities, there is a high probability that he will become a commodity. Thank you, John Killen said. Nolan shrugged. John Killen asked again, what will the auction do to these people? Doing terrible things, Nolan said. Do you know about the dark web? No. The so-called dark web is a browser that ordinary people cannot access or search, but it actually exists on the internet. We ordinary people are like tourists sailing on the sea. We can see the tops of icebergs, but we know nothing about the icebergs beneath the sea. Some people, by chance, accidentally glimpse the icebergs on the bottom of the sea. Then, he needs to see a psychiatrist. Most of the videos on the dark web challenge the limits of human psychology. For example, skinning a person alive, pouring hot oil on someone, injecting mercury into a person's eyeballs with a syringe, fighting a beast with bare hands, or vivisection. The subject of the dissection is not anesthetized, and the mouth is not covered. During the dissection process, I kept screaming in pain. Many of the subjects in these videos are these poor missing people, Nolan said. The buyer will set a price based on the quality of the goods. The one with the highest price gets the goods. They can do anything with the goods. The auction will also sell darknet accounts, and many people can watch the live broadcast online. John Killen said, isn't there any way to stop the auction? Nolan showed a pale smile. Stop it? Do you know who are behind these accounts? Do you think those politicians who talk so much about justice and human rights don't know these things? They are the consumers at the top of the food chain. I tell you this to prepare you mentally. When we go to the auction site, we may see a lot of terrible things. I hope you can control yourself and stop meddling in other people's business. In the modern civilization of the 21st century, such a place still exists. It's so incredible. Nolan said, there is another reason why I helped you today. That woman from the Neon Country is not an ordinary person. That woman's name is Yukari Kasai. She is the eldest lady of the Kasai group. And the Kasai group is one of the initiators of the auction. Every year, the Kasai group selects a young person from its own family to come to the auction to sharpen their mind and gain insights. John Killen suddenly said, "Bar owner, do you think I am the new member of the Lijing group this year?" Nolan nodded. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 385. So, when she heard that I was one of the buyers, she gave up harassing me. Nolan said, "This is the iron rule set by the auction. No one can buy or sell to buyers and sellers. She will naturally not break the rules. But I remind you that after the auction, you must leave country Y as soon as possible. Because the protection of buyers and sellers by the auction is limited to the Caribbean Sea. If you leave the sea area, you will lose the protection of the rules." Nolan looked at his watch. "The auction is about to start, let's go back. A yacht will come to the bar to pick up guests attending the auction." John Killen patted his backpack. "Do you need something to protect yourself?" Nolan smiled again. "Finally you asked." "But no, I have my own things." "What should I call you?" John Killen asked. "Call me Mr. N." "Then I'm Mr. L." John Killen stretched out his hand and shook hands with Nolan. Nolan drove the speedboat and rushed to the bar. Perhaps because he heard the news of Alexei's death, or perhaps because he was a little confused about the future. Nolan couldn't help but help John Killen. In addition, there was another reason. Nolan felt that John Killen gave him a strange sense of familiarity. Especially John Killen's eyes. It looked like someone. Jichinjaiwa. Of course, it could also be because he was a little face blind to Asians. Asterisk. After the opening ceremony, the crew members had a grand meal as usual. The dining location was chosen on the second floor of the hotel where they were staying. There was a very famous Chinese restaurant with a good environment and acceptable food quality. Hu Suitong booked the largest private room in the restaurant. Fu Yuban didn't join in the fun. After saying "Everyone eat and drink to your heart's content, I'll pay for lunch," he hurriedly left and went to find John Kyun. The opening ceremony ignited the fire in everyone's hearts. On the way to the restaurant, the director and many actors sat in the business car, chattering about the play. Everyone wanted to start filming immediately without even eating. Hu Suitong arranged for everyone to sit down in the private room. "I'll ask the waiter to serve the dishes. If you have any dietary restrictions, you can tell me," Hu Suitong said. Gongbaiu was a little unhappy. "Why didn't you count these things before? Why are you asking now?" Hu Suitong was unhappy. She wanted to count them in advance. It was all Maz Hekan's fault. She couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. Director Su waved his hand. "Don't waste time. Just serve the set meal in the private room. If you have dietary restrictions, be a little careful. Xiao Hu, you should work more seriously in the future." Hu Suitong didn't dare to show any unhappiness on her face. "Yes, thank you Director Su and Producer Gong for your correction." She turned and left the private room to find the waiter to order food. Director Su, Producer Gong, the male and female leading actors, as well as many male and female second roles and important supporting roles, sat at the same table. Director Su didn't want to get entangled in the trivial matter of ordering dishes because he wanted to share his joy with everyone. He raised the mobile phone in his hand. "Our show is off to a great start. Weibo is full of hot searches about our crew's opening ceremony. We also have to thank Mr. John Kyun for giving us such a hot topic." Producer Gong also smiled. "We haven't started shooting yet, but many people from big companies have contacted me to discuss GG business with me." Everyone was anxious after hearing this. Good actors, good directors, and good producers all want to have a work with a good reputation. A Song of Light and Blood is very likely to become their most boastful work in the future. Bai Qingcan sat next to Chen Ling and eagerly discussed with her his feelings about the script and the characters. But Chen Ling was a little absent-minded. From time to time, She took out her mobile phone to take a look. How is Brother Lan now? Did you encounter any troubles? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 386. I'm afraid I won't be able to express the tension here. Bai Kinkan said. Chen Ling came back to his senses. Sister Sen, don't worry, this part of the scene is relatively late. At that time, we have a deeper understanding of the plot, and the emotions will arrive naturally. Bai Kinkan was a little embarrassed, because I really like this character, but I'm afraid that I'm not good enough to perform it well. Chen Ling comforted her a few words. At this time, the sound of voices came from the small bone-mounted earphone that had been hanging on her left ear. Chen Ling pulled out the stool and said, Sister Sen, I'm going to the bathroom. Chen Ling left the private room. Bai Kinkan looked away from Chen Ling's back. When he turned around, he found Director Su and others looking at him. Bai Kinkan was stunned and touched his face. What's wrong? Is there something dirty on my face? Director Su smiled. I was worried that you two wouldn't be able to portray that kind of sisterly love. It seems that my worries were unnecessary. You two have a really good relationship. Gong producer picked up the teacup and said, you should also have more contact with Chen Ling and develop a tacit understanding. The green tea actor said sincerely, Teacher Chen Ling is really suitable for the heroine. I was dumbfounded today. The white tea actor said, let's stop calling them teacher. The older ones should be called brother and sister. The younger ones should be called by their real names. Chen Ling, who walked out of the private room, took her cell phone and walked straight to the bathroom. Hu Suitong's voice came from the headphones. Yes, this package, I will be invoiced according to the old rules, and I will be given 15% more points. Chen Ling washed her hands slowly in the bathroom and listened to her order. Hu Suitong's mobile phone is now Chen Ling's best assistant in monitoring Hu Suitong's every move. As long as the phone is on, Chen Ling can use the microphone to eavesdrop on her conversations. You can also remotely operate her phone and view all the software, information, and photo albums in her phone, including software shopping information, all messages and conversations on social networking sites, and every bill in the financial account. It is not difficult for Chen Ling to do this. She wrote a small program in advance and embedded it in the shared wireless Wi-Fi covered by this hotel. As long as anyone is connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi, Chen Ling can choose to sneak into his phone and capture the information on his phone. Many untrusted Wi-Fi in public places can now capture customer information. Of course, only Hu Suitong's mobile phone was Chen Ling's target. After entering the restaurant, Chen Ling unlocked Hu Suitong's phone with a few operations. After Hu Suitong finally finished ordering, Chen Ling wiped his hands, took out his mobile phone, and used satellite positioning to check Hu Suitong's location. If Hu Suitong wants to do something, now is the best time. Hu Suitong walked out of the restaurant and walked towards the underground parking lot behind the hotel. Chen Ling made some adjustments to make Hu Suitong's voice clearer. The receiver heard the sound of Hu Suitong pushing the door open and the sound of walking. Finally, she stopped and opened her bag. After rustling for a while, Chen Ling heard the sound of a lighter. Hu Suitong is smoking. She took a drag of her cigarette and then took out her cell phone. Chen Ling's mobile phone can display the phone number she dialed 139XXXXXXXXX. The label name is Liang Xiaoliai. It took a while before the call was answered. Sister Zibao, the other party panted, I was just cleaning the guest room. How many times have I told you, don't call me Sister Zibao from now on, call me Sister Tong, Hu Suitong said. Sister Tong, I'm sorry, I got used to calling her names when I was a child. The person named Xiaolei immediately changed his mind. Have you arranged all your things? Hu Suitong asked. Well, Sister Tong, the camera is installed in Director Su's room 2103 that you mentioned before, Xiaolei said. No one saw it, right? Sister Tong, I cleaned the room in order. After I entered room 2103, I closed the door. When I installed the camera, no one came in. Okay, I can rest assured that you can do the work, Hu Suitong said. Xiaolei said in a vulgar voice, is it really Chen Ling? Sister, I like her very much. Hu Suitong sighed, I know you have evil intentions, okay, as is the old rule, don't forget to wear a condom. Don't worry, Sister Tong. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 387. If female celebrities encounter illegal abuse, most of them will not choose to call the police. Because, if exposed, their reputation will be damaged. Public opinion will attack them. Who knows if you guys betrayed me because you didn't agree on the price? Did you seduce him on purpose? Who makes you so slutty and wearing such revealing clothes? You deserve to be violated. Although he is clearly a victim, he still has to endure criticism and ridicule. Female celebrities will inevitably have concerns. If they call the police, can they get justice? But one thing is certain, as long as this matter is exposed, they will definitely be harmed twice. It will even affect their careers, brands and film crews will exclude her from the list. Because I'm afraid of getting into trouble. Such a woman represents trouble. Chen Ling Gang has just become the heroine of such a big production. Naturally, she will not make any news about what happens to her. Otherwise it will be self-destructive. Chen Ling's face sank when he heard the sound of Hu Suitong smoking over there. As a woman, Hu Suitong uses the difficulty of women's rights protection and the characteristics of slut humiliation to suppress women. After Hu Suitong hung up the phone, he smoked for a while before continuing to rummage through his address book. Chen Ling watched her rummaging through the address book on her phone. Soon, she clicked on a phone number with the name of Paparazzi, Cheng. Paparazzi Cheng, I specially found a paparazzi for myself. Almost as soon as the music started playing on the other side of the phone, the call was answered immediately. Just listen to the other party's urgent and humble voice, hello, hello, sister. Oh, you have called me. I have been waiting for a long time. If you don't let me take the initiative to call you, I can only worry. Hu Suitong blew out smoke and said calmly. Have your studio discussed the price? The price last time was not acceptable. Oh, sister, the price is already quite high. You should also know that. Hu Suitong raised her voice, have you gone online today? Have you seen how popular the crew is? How many people are waiting to dig up dirt on her? It's all money. The other party was a little unbelievable, Director Su's Himu, there has never been such a scandal in all these years, is that Chen Ling really having an affair with him? Hu Suitong sneered, I have photos and videos. If you don't want them, there are a lot of studios waiting for me to contact you. This is an opportunity for you to get rich and famous. The other party hesitated for a while, we are willing to double the price. Hu Suitong took a breath of cigarette and slowly exhaled it, this handle is in your hands, it is a cash cow. They can only give you as much as you want from the crew. The other party gritted his teeth and said with determination, 1 million. Hu Suitong was finally satisfied. She said, okay. Later, pay attention to the mobile phone messages. The old rule is to pay with one hand and deliver the goods with the other hand. I only want cash. After hanging up the phone, Hu Suitong squinted his eyes, finished enjoying the whole cigarette, put it out with his foot, hummed a song, and returned to the restaurant. After she returned to the restaurant, She subconsciously glanced at the main table. Chen Ling was holding a teacup and talking to Tang Qing, the green tea actor next to him, smiling. Hu Suitong said in his heart, "Laugh, laugh. Laugh while you still can." She returned to her staff table. Not long after, I heard a knock from the waiter outside the door. "The food is served." Everyone shouted, "It's finally here." Starving. Chinese dishes were served one after another like a stream of water, including squirrel mandarin fish, roast duck, boiled beef slices, braised pork with pickled vegetables. Everyone was so hungry that they raised their chopsticks to pick up the dishes. After a while, someone asked, "Why don't you have anything to drink?" "What kind of drink, wine, or something?" Upon hearing this, Hu Suitong put down his chopsticks, wiped his mouth, and stood up. "Are you ordering?" "I'll go and hurry." Chen Ling raised an eyebrow. "Oh, she is getting ready to add some ingredients." The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 388. Hu Suitong walked out of the private room. Chen Ling listened to her movements attentively. She wanted to see how Hu Suitong would start. Hu Suitong's voice came from the headset. "Hey, waiter, when will the drinks in our room be served?" "Hey, it will be served now." "You ordered too much, I'm loading the car," a man's voice answered. "It should be the waiter." Chen Ling understood when she heard the voice. This is Liang Xiaoli, who was responsible for installing the camera in Director Su's room before. People generally find it difficult to be wary of waiters in restaurants. When they put on the uniform of a restaurant waiter, people assume that he is safe, official, and reliable. They will not doubt what he brings. Hu Suitong urged, "Okay, hurry up, I'll go back to the private room with you." The sound of rolling and rolling came from the headset. After a while, the private room opened, and Hu Suitong walked in first to help block the door. A young male waiter with acne scars on his face came in from behind, pushing a beverage cart similar to the one pushed by flight attendants. Hu Suitong led the waiter to the main table. Hu Suitong smiled and asked, "What do you want to drink?" "Tell the waiter and he will pour it for you." Chen Ling took the chopsticks and seemed to be eating the food carelessly. In fact, she was always watching the man with her peripheral vision. Director Su talked the most, his throat was smoking, and he said, "Give me a cup of lemon tea first." Liang Xiaoli moved quickly, took the cup, twisted the lid of the lemon tea, and asked, "Do you want some ice cubes?" "Add a little," Director Su said. Liang Xiaoli took out the ice cube jar, picked up a few pieces of ice, and handed it over. Chen Ling could see the truth, his ice cube jar had a block in the middle. He took the ice cubes for Director Su from the left. It seems that part of the ingredients are hidden in the ice cubes. If Chen Ling guessed correctly, the ingredients should be in the center of the ice cubes. That's smart. The ice will melt slowly, and the drug won't be too strong all at once. Chen Ling didn't stop Director Su from drinking the drink. Director Su took 2 big gulps and put the drink cup on the table. Gongbao said, "I'll have some sugar-free cola and some ice cubes." This time, Liang Xiaoli took the ice cubes from the right. It seems to be right. Everyone said what drinks they wanted, and Chen Ling finally said, "I want soda water at room temperature, no ice." She wanted to see what Liang Xiaoli would do. Liang Xiaoli didn't hesitate at all, picked up a cup from below, unscrewed the lid of the soda water, and poured it for Chen Ling. Just before he poured the water, Chen Ling found that there was some shaking liquid at the bottom of the cup. Because the glass cup of the drink was very thick, the transparent liquid could not be detected at all. They kept a trick, just in case the target person didn't use ice cubes. So put their ingredients in a specific empty cup in advance. As for what the ingredients are, Chen Ling knows it. The liquid inside is an organic compound called gamma-hydroxybutyric acid, GHB, which is a synthetic drug. Gamma-hydroxybutyric acid is also called obedient water and magic water. Its chemical formula is C4H8O3, and it is a colorless and odorless liquid. Just a few drops of gamma-hydroxybutyric acid can make people have sexual impulses, strong pleasure, and easy to feel sleepy. A dozen drops of gamma-hydroxybutyric acid can make people confused, sleepy, nauseous, weak, forgetful and unconscious. 20 drops of gamma-hydroxybutyric acid can cause temporary memory loss. Before memory loss, they will speak and act like normal people, but their language may be confused. Many criminals use gamma-hydroxybutyric acid as a drug or aphrodisiac and give it to victims. Because it is colorless and odorless, it is difficult for people to be alert. After Liang Xiaoli finished distributing the drinks, he said, "Everyone, our hotel thanks you for your patronage and has given you a bottle of white wine and 10 bottles of beer. Should I serve them to you now or later?" Director Su has a hobby, he loves drinking. It was a good start today and the mission was completed. I heard that the hotel gave me wine, and it tasted a little bland in my mouth. Anyway, there is no other arrangement today. Director Su smacked his lips and said, "Let's go now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 389. They really have a trick up their sleeve. In real life, every time a victim appears, people like to say, "You should be more careful. You should pay more attention. You didn't do well enough here." People rarely think that criminals emerge in endlessly, and their criminal methods are varied, and it is often really hard to guard against them. Liang Xiaoli smiled and said, "The wine in our hotel is all local specialties, and the alcohol is very strong. I advise you to drink less." Director Su got angry, and he couldn't stand others saying that he couldn't drink. "Don't worry, I can drink 1.5 pounds of ordinary wine without getting drunk." Chen Ling thought, "It's a pity that what you want to drink is not an ordinary wine. That is the devil's wine of a famous director who can work diligently all his life and loves the directing career, but has fallen into disgrace." Chen Ling was very angry. Director Su is a good director. Maybe he has a bad temper and a weird personality, but he is one of the few directors in the entertainment industry who wants to make good movies seriously. If he hadn't seen through their conspiracy, then Director Su's life would have been ruined. No matter how good his achievements were, people will only remember the stain. These bastards, for their own little bit of profit, made so many people pay a painful price. Liang Xiaoli left the private room. A table of people were eating happily. When Director Su picked up the drink cup again, Chen Ling called out, "Director Su." Director Su put down the cup and looked at Chen Ling. "Ah. Chen Ling, what's the matter?" Hu Suitong on the side also looked over. Chen Ling took out the script from her bag, walked to Director Su, and turned one of the pages. "Director Su, I think it's difficult for me to preset a scene for myself in this section and put myself in the role." Hu Suitong was relieved. It turned out that they were pretending to discuss the plot. This Chen Ling is really good at pretending. When Hu Suitong was in school, she was annoyed by those good students who were studious and inquisitive. She felt that those people were deliberately trying to show their favor in front of others. She turned around and continued to eat meat. When she was young, she had the chance to eat a little meat scraps only during the Chinese New Year. Their family was very poor, and when they bought some meat occasionally, they gave it to her younger brother. Now, the whole family can eat as much meat as they want. And her parents and younger brother, sleeping in the ground, have become fertilizer for the flowers in the flower bed. So, in this world, whoever is cruel can enjoy a good life. The weak are only fit to be fertilizer. Asterisk. After Cheng Ling finished her understanding of the script, she quickly lowered her voice and said to Director Su's Himu in a volume that only the two of them could hear. Director, don't drink beverages or alcohol. Pretend to drink. Pretend that you have drunk. Director Su had a surprised look on his face. Cheng Ling returned to normal volume, what do you think? Director Su responded quickly, this part of the plot is indeed more complicated. Have you ever been sick and no one took care of you? He told Cheng Ling about the play. Cheng Ling used the script to block the view of others, quickly reached into Director Su's cup, picked up 2 ice cubes, and put them in her pocket. There is an open portable sealed bag in her pocket. This is Cheng Ling's habit. If you have the opportunity to look through her carry-on bag, you will find that her bag is just like Doraemon's pocket. There are many emergency medicines, portable ice packs, special sharp knives. With this bag, even if she is thrown into the wilderness, she can live comfortably. And the sealed bag is her must-have item. The sealed bag is a very magical item. It can be used to seal materials, such as mobile phones, medicines, etc., and can prevent insects, water, and moisture. It can also be used to make fire in the cold zone. After filling with water, dig a round pit, freeze it into ice, take it out, and use it as a convex lens to use the focus to make fire. It can be used as a signpost, tear it open and tie it to a high place to make a sound and it is eye-catching. It can be used as a survival whistle, tear it into strips and put it in a tube to blow. It has strong penetrating power. It can be used as fuel. In Cheng Ling's hands, the sealed bag has at least 17 uses. And at this moment, the sealed bag came in handy. She wants to take these ice cubes for testing. This is also the key evidence for conviction. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 390. Director Su is straightforward, but that doesn't mean he's stupid. Having been in the big divat of the entertainment industry for so long, even if you haven't eaten pork, you have at least seen pigs run. After listening to Director Su's explanation, Cheng Ling said happily, "Thank you, I understand. I'll go back and think about it. If you have any questions, I'll contact you by phone." She pointed to Director Su's phone and smiled meaningfully. Director Su knew that Cheng Ling was so mysterious, which meant that the person who wanted to harm him was in this room. Now, he had to cooperate with Cheng Ling's performance. After Cheng Ling returned to his seat, he picked up his phone and swiped it for a while, and then tapped it. Not long after, the phone on Director Su's desk vibrated. Cheng Xiaoling, in addition to the producer who of life scene and the waiter who was responsible for pouring wine, there should be other insiders. Let's act out a play together and find them out. Don't really drink your wine, pretend to drink it. After it's almost done, you pretend to be drunk, and they will send you back to the room. Your room is monitored by them, so when you get to the room, pretend to be asleep and don't alarm them. Don't worry, there will be no danger. Liang Xiaoli quickly got the wine and returned to the private room. Hello, everyone, the wine is here. Dinners without wine always feel like something is missing. Director Su watched Liang Xiaoli open the bottle and said, "Our crew doesn't have a drinking culture. I'm greedy, so I'll have a couple of sips. I have a good alcohol tolerance, so drinking a little won't affect tomorrow's work. You guys can do whatever you want, do what you can. It's a dinner party. How can you not drink? Moreover, the filming is about to start, and you absolutely cannot drink during the filming. Most people still clamor to try the local specialty wine. Everyone drinks, the wine should be clean. Then the problem should be with the wine glass." Director Su thought. But I don't know who is targeting him. However, he was not surprised. Over the years, she had offended many people because of her honesty, and some colleagues were jealous and tried to sabotage her. Producer Gong knew nothing about the undercurrents here. She picked up the wine glass and said with high spirits, "Our opening ceremony today went quite smoothly. I hope that everyone in our crew can help each other, correct each other, and make progress together like a family. Strive to finish the filming as soon as possible." Everyone raised their heads and drank the wine. Director Su was very smart. Before holding the wine glass, he took advantage of others not paying attention and spilled some wine. When everyone raised their heads to drink together, he secretly poured the wine on his front and cuffs. This can also make the body smell of wine. Chen-Ling also drank the wine in her glass. Of course, she pretended to drink. Chen-Ling is a super magician. When the other party is concentrating, she can play tricks and steal the day. Not to mention that Hu Suitong can't stare at her every move openly. Hu Suitong occasionally glanced. Soon, Chen-Ling's eyes began to blur. On the other side, Director Su drank one cup after another and became visibly drunk. The smile on Hu Suitong's face became more and more obvious. This thing is almost done. Director Su did pour one cup after another. But he actually secretly poured it on the napkin, the bone plate, the bowl of rice, and even on himself many times. It's just like dealing with diners who can't finish their food at a buffet. Cautious, careful, and hidden. As a famous director, he often has to personally instruct the actors on how to act. He was drunk at this moment, his voice was louder, and he boasted louder, but he couldn't help swaying from side to side, and he was drunk. When he almost fell for the third time, producer Gong said, "Director Su, don't drink anymore. It's too much to drink more." "I'm not drunk." Director Su muttered. Producer Gong said without hesitation, "Don't drink anymore." Hu Suitong. Hu Suitong ran over immediately. Producer Gong said, "Is Director Su's room card ready?" Hu Suitong said while rummaging through her small bag, "It's ready." She took out a small zipper bag with the label Director Su, 2013. "Director Su, this is your room card." Director Su muttered and grabbed it. The smell of alcohol made Hu Suitong's head hurt. Hu Suitong turned around and shouted, "Xiao Li, come and help send Director Su back to the room." Xiao Li was Hu Suitong's follower, a taciturn young man with glasses. Director Su put his arm around Xiao Li's shoulders and staggered out of the private room. A table of people stood up to see him off. Director Su waved his hand carelessly, and he quickly glanced at Chen-Ling. Chen-Ling also looked a little drunk, and waved at him. But her eyes were quite sober. Director Su felt relieved and left while muttering to himself.